Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears are shocking the NFL? Question mark. Or are they? Because right now, with what Caleb Williams has done over the last couple of weeks, you got to give him his roses. Yes, he's looked good in a lot of different ways. But at the same time, and we'll shed light on that. So right now has 1,300 passing yards, 9 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, completing 65% of his passes. Stark contrast to how he played over the first 2 games of his career, where he completed 48% of his passes against the Titans for 93 yards. And then also came back against the Texans, one of the best teams in the AFC, completed 62% of his passes for 174 yards and 2 picks. Followed that up with a solid performance against the Colts. 63.5% was his completion percentage, 363, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Okay, better, right? Then went up against the Rams, who are kind of decimated by injury right now. Let's be real. Completed 73.9% of his passes for 157 yards, a touchdown, no picks. The Panthers went up against them, almost 70% passing completion percentage. Also 300 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no picks. And then the Jaguars in London. Here we go. 80% of his passes were almost complete. 79.3, if you want to be a stickler. 226 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick against a team that, let's be real, is imploding right now. Like, the Jaguars might roll with Mac Jones throughout the rest of the year. So the question is simple. Is this the fluke, or is Caleb Williams and the Bears the truth right now as we head into the rest of this regular season? On one hand, I can completely infer that people are going to say, hey, it's great to see him play, but, well, it was against 3 bad defenses. But on the other hand of that, what would you rather have? Caleb Williams playing solid football right now, learning from his first 2 games in the NFL, and now playing like one of the better young quarterbacks in the NFL, or would you have him suck for these first 5-6 games of his career? I think it's pretty simple if you ask me. So I think there's there's a case that's got to be made for both sides. So yes, we'll be optimistic first. It is the NFL. Even though the bad teams are bad according to NFL standards, it's the best league in the entire world. You are playing the best, even though there are some teams that are less equipped than others and all that kind of stuff. This is still NFL teams that he's getting it done against, including a 4-game win streak, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe it's a 3-game win streak. I'm blanking off the top of my head. But it doesn't matter because he's playing some of his best football, and he's continually getting better week in and week out. And is there going to be hiccups? Absolutely. There's even hiccups with Patrick Mahomes right now, who's actually technically playing some of his worst football of his career right now. Also, obviously, guys like Joe Burrow, even though he's playing well, his team isn't playing well around him. There's examples of quarterbacks that are really good that are not playing well. That's not Caleb Williams. He's playing well. He's distributing the ball to his playmakers. He's taking care of the football over these last 3 weeks. And he is putting his team in the best possible scenario to win the game. What more could you ask from the guy? So that's one end. Obviously, we're giving him his roses, looking at the 3 teams he's beaten. But there's a caveat though. Especially when you think about the 3 teams. So you play the 3 worst defenses, or 3 of the worst defenses in the entire league over these last 3 weeks, where you have thrown 7 touchdown passes, over 800 yards passing, completed over 70% of your passes against only 1 interception. So yes, you do have to take it with a grain of salt to a degree, but at the same time, this is the NFL. There are any time you can do that over any consistent amount of time is very impressive. And again, I think he's still hitting his stride during the rest of the regular season in a division that is so competitive right now that I think it's going to be really hard to make a case against for how Caleb Williams is playing. Because he's got the Bears in a position to win, and he is going to continue to put them in a position to win. Because he's a good quarterback, and I think that it is not a fluke. And what we're seeing with him, it is the truth. Caleb Williams is balling out right now, and I think that throughout the rest of the regular season, I think the Bears could shock people. I do. And I think that a lot of that is going to be definitely put to rest as we get throughout the rest of the regular season, and people can stop using some of these excuses for the Bears, or at least just say, hey, this is who they played, whatever. Like, well, if that's the sample size, we can't cherry pick, we can't move the goalpost for anybody. But they go up, they play the Commanders. I believe they got a bye week this week, if I'm not mistaken. They go to play Commanders in 2 weeks. Then they've got the Cardinals. They got the Patriots. So really the Commanders, this arguably is going to be a huge game because you've got the number 1 and number 2 overall pick, or maybe it's number 3. Doesn't matter. Number 1 and number 2 overall pick in the 2024 NFL draft going against each other. This is a great matchup because the Commanders are playing out of their mind. So are the Bears. Got to give them their flowers, right? So I think as we move throughout the rest of the regular season, they got the Packers, the Vikings, the Lions, the 49ers. That's a stretch right now that is going to make things tough. Plus, I got the Lions again, the Seahawks to end things out, and the Packers to end the season. So we're going to get a really good measuring stick of how good the Bears can be towards the rest of this year, and we'll just see where and what they're able to do. But overall, let us know what you guys think. Is it a fluke or is it the truth on what Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears are doing right now? Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe down below, and we'll see you on the next video.